Hello, everyone, and welcome back. When we last got together, I mentioned to you a poll that was done that I heard about on CNN on Sunday, and I assumed that CNN had conducted the survey, but that was not the case. So let me address that because it has a lot to do with what we're going to talk about today. Of course, on Monday, January 6th, 2025, Donald Trump's election as president of the United States was certified by the U.S. Congress, January 6th. Now, we told you last time we got together that there was a poll done. And again, I heard about it on CNN. And when it asked the people they were polling, what do you remember most about Donald Trump's first presidency? Where does the January 6th incident rank from 2021? And there's a rank at the top. You know how many people said it ranked at the top? That's what they'll remember most? 5%. 5% of those polled. Overall, it was 2% for Republicans. Now, not everything that they responded to was flattering about Donald Trump, but 5%. So my point is this turns out to be a New York Times and Siena College poll. They did the poll. And also COVID, incidentally, 4% would put that at the top for the most memorable part of the first Donald Trump presidency. So that's interesting. Now, I bring you this, one, for a correction. It wasn't CNN. They just reported on it. Number two, going into Monday's certification, the coverage of the certification, you might think that the media would have given a rat's behind about the poll I just read to you, the New York Times Siena College poll, that, you know, it's lost a lot of significance to a lot of people. I believe this poll was done in April of 2024. But nope, if you watched the media coverage, it was wall-to-wall January 6th, 2021. And it just didn't stop. It did not stop because they don't get it. Their ratings are in the toilet. And I'm talking about CNN and MSNBC. That's what I watched for the most part. Mostly CNN. I switched back and forth. I watched some Fox, and they mentioned it, of course, but they didn't obsess on it. Every guest didn't talk about it. Every guest didn't condemn it and condemn Trump for it. But that's why MSNBC and CNN have suffered so greatly in the ratings. They don't get it. They have their political persuasion. They consider themselves journalists. They're talk show hosts for the most part. And they have opinions. And they give opinions like I do as a talk show host. I'm not a journalist. I've never been a journalist. But, if you tell them that, they'll, can't offend them. Anyway, they don't get it. They'll never get it. And that's why their ratings are in the toilet. But it's not only, it's not only the media. It's not only the media. And let me fast forward here. There was some kind of prayer gathering with Democrats, I guess right after the certification of the Donald Trump's election or right before it. And Hakeem Jeffries, and I'm going to have much more on Hakeem Jeffries in another segment, not today. Hakeem Jeffries, the congressman from New York, the minority leader, the leader of the minority in the House of Representatives, called January 6th, not today. I mean, he said it today, he said it on Monday, but he was referring to 2021, January 6th. He called it a day that will forever live in infamy. Now, where did I hear that? A day that will live in infamy. Of course, President Roosevelt and the attack on Pearl Harbor. Now, to compare January 6th to Pearl Harbor, where so many people died, an enemy attacked us. And launched us into World War II. Really? Really? And it wasn't just Hakeem Jeffries on the political side. There were many more, but I also want to. Oh, I want to read you, Mr. Perfect. Before I forget, Mr. Perfect is, according to the DailyWire.com, Jeffries has a history of questioning election results. Mr. Perfect? I don't believe it. Well, let me read you what they wrote. In March of 2019, Jeffries stated on CBS News' Face the Nation, the American people deserve to know whether Donald Trump is either A, legitimate president, B, a Russian asset, C, the functional equivalent of an organized crime boss, or D, just a useful idiot who happens to have been victimized by the greatest collection of coincidences in the history of the Republic. So the perfect, the holier than thou, Hakeem Jeffries said that in the middle of the term of the President of the United States, Donald Trump. Yet there he is calling January 6th, 4 years ago, a day that will live in infamy, which was nothing compared to what Sunny Hostin, and by the way, Sunny's not her real name. She banned me from Twitter 8 years ago from her account. Long story. I have the exchange. One day I'll let you know, but it's one of my badges of pride, okay, being banned from Sunny Hostin's Twitter account. Those who cover it at newsbusters.com, Newsbusters, call her a racist. They make very good points in my view. But let me tell you what she said on Monday on The View about January 6th. Okay? She cited that some are saying we should move on from it, how Condoleezza Rice, a few years, I think, after it happened, was on The View and said we need to move on. Sunny Hostin called it, January 6, 2021, an atrocity, one of the worst moments in American history, like World War II, the Holocaust, yes, Holocaust, not Holocaust, Holocaust. I didn't know that was American history, but okay, you know, to an extent. And the chattel slavery that took place in this country, which, of course, their human beings were bought and sold like, property. Really? Really? January 6th was the same as the Holocaust? World War II? And she didn't mention 9/11 as far as I know, but others have. Folks, again, anybody who was violent and hurt anybody, especially hurt policemen, on January 6, 2021, should be in jail. But really? They're just out of their minds. They're just out of their minds. And brings me to one more. Speaking of being out of their mind, I'm a big fan of 2.5 Men. I watch a lot of reruns, and how do you have the time? Well, in addition to watching the news and everything else, I watch Seinfeld reruns. I watch Everyone Loves Raymond. I love The Odd Couple. I don't see them that much anymore. But 2.5 Men. And the guy who played Alan Harper, Alan Harper. Those of you who know. If you don't, you don't. The guy who played Alan Harper is John Cryer. John Cryer was a guest with Bill Maher on Bill Maher's podcast the other day, and talking about why Donald Trump won and Kamala Harris lost the election. Bill Maher said, because you liberals, because he's a big liberal, Alan Harper, and in real life, John Cryer, it's wokeness. And until you people realize it, said Bill Maher, and he said this before, you're going to keep losing. And John Cryer, I want to get this right, so I'm looking at my notes here. John Cryer said woke is part of it, but Americans hate inflation, which was true. They hate riots, black women, and they hate trans women. And he said they demonize trans people by spending hundreds of millions of dollars in ads. Well, they didn't demonize trans people. They demonized the act of having men compete in girls' sports, be in women's locker rooms, and us paying for sex change operations for trans prisoners. Okay, that's what they demonized. But again, Trump won according to this nut job, in my opinion, politically speaking, because Americans hate black women and trans women. And again, he said inflation, and he said that woke was part of it. But there you go. It's an illness. It's an illness. And I hope they keep the illness, because Americans voted them out, voted woke out, voted out Hakeem Jeffries' views and Sonny Hostin's views and John Cryer's views. So keep it up, folks, to them. Keep it up. All right, folks, please, you see the little subscribe button down at the bottom of your screen where you're watching on this YouTube video on Steve M Talk? Okay, that's the name of my channel, Steve M Talk. Hit subscribe. Doesn't cost you anything, and you'll be notified when there are videos. Also, Truth Social, Getter, I think I'm pronouncing it right, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, everywhere. I'm Steve M Talk. But hit that subscribe button right now. And until next time, stay safe, everyone.